Okay, my name is Julian Roberts. I'm a fashion designer from the UK, and I travel around the world giving cutting demonstrations to audiences all over the place. And this is the first time I'm in Australia, and I've been to I've given 6 master classes of subtraction cutting in Melbourne, Brisbane, Canberra and Wollongbar. Subtraction cutting is, instead of doing drawings of illustrations of garments and then giving it to a cutter to cut, it's about designing in patterns. Everything is done in between 2 and 3D in this process of exploring shape through patterns. And particularly subtraction cutting is about cutting and removing space from cloth or from the patterns to create room for the person to wear. And the outcomes are unlikely and unexpected and a surprise. It involves risk and error, and sometimes making mistakes can be good things rather than bad things. Sometimes when you think you're going wrong, you're in fact going right. So it's an exploratory process, and there's lots of room in it for finding completely new shapes that have never been made before. Subtraction cutting came really out of when I was a student. I was a bit of a geek and obsessed with making little 2D models of things and working diagrammatic plans out, and I called it what was lateral cutting, and lateral as in thinking sideways and trying to think differently about how patterns are cut. And then as time went on, I moved into my parents' house to set up my first collection, and while I was there I sort of happened upon the idea of subtracting space and joining holes and the body passing through them, and that kind of led on to me teaching it in lots of places, and the more I taught it, the more streamlined the method became. Whenever I teach people how to cut, they always bring to it their own way of working, and so it's always different. I never know exactly where it's going to go, but I think particularly when we were in TAFE at Wollongbar, that was kind of really interesting because there were a lot of lecturers and technicians, and so they were quite highly skilled, and they turned out some quite interesting garments, I thought, because they were quite confident. Sometimes people who have learned skills before find it difficult letting go and doing something that they don't know what the outcome of it is. And so they can actually, by the fact that they know stuff, it can actually hold them back. But this was the opposite. They felt confident in their skills and able to pick it up quickly and do interesting things with it. So I thought there were some nice garments turned out in TAFE. The only surprise that I get when I'm in Australia is because Australia is almost the exact opposite side of the world that I was born on and have been living in, mainly in the UK. It's just that I'm wandering around at night or in the daytime, and everything kind of feels like it's it's just another city. It could be, 100 miles from where I live, or it could be 1,000, or it could be, as it is, over 10,000. But I'm walking around just thinking like it's kind of normal, but then there's just something about it that's not quite right. It's not quite where I live, and it's got strange, I don't know, it might be an insect or a bird or an animal or a little sort of part of the culture that suddenly springs out that isn't anything like you get back home. And it just you're just wandering around and you think, yeah, I'm just living normally, and then you think, oh my God, I'm the other side of the world. And that's quite a weird realization to think that this big planet we live on, that you can go that far, and that an interest in your work can pull you around the globe to the other side. I didn't come here to travel to visit Australia. I came to Australia because Australia invited me to come because it was interested in my work. So it's really nice to have been pulled that far by something that I released, first of all online, free, over a 7-year period back. It started in 2001, I believe, that I released Subtraction Cutting so that it was a free thing. And then suddenly, years later, you're kind of like the other side of the world talking about it in front of audiences. It's quite amazing how far your work can take you.